Okay, thank you, James, for having me on this. It's good to be here. To one of your last sessions with Cuba talking, which was a fantastic session. Really enjoyed it. And I know Cuba's here on the line, and to say that I'm actually sleeping in one of his beds at the moment. That might sound weird, but I'm in an Eve sleep bed. I'm sleeping like a baby at the moment, so it's brilliant. The name of my talk today is Growing Differently, and I'm going to be really sharing my story so far, how we've really marketed ourselves, how we've gone against the status quo, done it very differently. And I wanted to share real life case studies with you of how we've done it, rather than just talking theory. So I'll be talking a lot about the psychology behind why we've gone down this route. So just to kick this off, a bit about me, hold on. My background, who I am. I'm a co-founder of Honeypot, which is a new dating app for London, came out August the 1st, 2019. And you're probably thinking, well, how is it different to anything else? It's a very saturated market, dating apps at the moment. It's all about same-day dating. So if you match with someone on Honeypot, we encourage you to meet them that day. We really think the problems of dating apps are people spending too much time on them, trying to, small talk with people, and there's little genuine attempt to actually meet someone or go on a date. People are now matching for the sake of it. It's become more of a dopamine hit, an ego boost, rather than an actual let's go on a date. So we wanted to speed up the dating process without it becoming disposable. Or it might be that my co-founder there, who I know is on this call, was extremely single, completed Tinder, run out of swipes, and realized we needed to actually, make our own one to get the guy girlfriend. So that might be the reason. He's probably really embarrassed now because I know he's on this call. So it started off as a bit of a bedroom project where we thought, we think there's something in this, and of course it's now formed and morphed into quite a serious business. We weren't really expecting to get this far. Probably a bad way to go into it in terms of being an entrepreneur, but it was just a bit of a spark of an idea. So in terms of my background, where did it sort of start? I've always been fascinated with this term manufactured authenticity and how we can humanize the brand and be more relatable. I've always been about trying to put people in front of the brand. I think lots of the time brands are faceless and they don't communicate their message through people, and it's all a little bit dull. I think human interaction is so key. And examples of how brands have actually personalized without putting themselves in front of the brand is just little small examples of things like Coca-Cola. And this is a great piece of personalizing your brand, because even though it's still just a can of Coke or a coffee, you're more likely to take a picture of that because it's got your name on it than you are just a usual can of Coke. It's very simple to do. Of course, in terms of the operationally for them, it's probably quite difficult. Easier for Starbucks because you're just writing it on. But the point is, it makes you feel special and it makes you feel good. But it's marketing that is content that travels because people want to share that. Okay, so moving on to my first startup, which was a video communication tool that allowed businesses to send video email to each other. I don't know if any of you emailed me here. I actually like to send video, so I will embed a video file into my email, and that's how I communicate. It's actually revolutionized the way I communicate, because it's a great way of building relationships and rapport with people, rather than just a faceless, wording. This idea stemmed from uni, dropped out of uni to really start this. The idea came about, actually, I was at university and I found myself in a mini garage, the car garage. I wasn't even in the market to buy a car. I just was there with a friend. We were having a look around, and I literally was a very good classic car salesman. He managed to get my details, and literally a few hours later, he sent me this video file sent to my iMessage that was literally a file of him communicating, saying, "Hi, George, I know you're not in the market right now to buy a car, but just thought I'd send you a personal video so you remember me when you are looking for a car." I thought that was so powerful and so amazing, I had to explore the idea. And I actually dropped out of uni to start this video communication tool to basically help businesses send more video email. I dropped out and didn't really properly look into the market before I dropped out, I'll be honest. I was doing geography, wasn't really enjoying it, and realized there was a company in the States called BombBomb who were doing it very, very well. And I reached out to them and actually white labeled their system, and was starting to basically, so I white labeled their system and was selling that on to people like estate agents, schools, recruitment agencies. And of course, we didn't have route to market at all, but the way we got it out there is by sending video emails to these people, all personal. Yes, it took a long time, but that's how we marketed it and kind of achieved growth very quickly by actually sending these companies an example of how a video email could look in them. So that's how we actually scaled this extremely quickly, by designing templates for companies that in their branding and video email them saying, hey, you should check this out. And it worked like a treat. Conversion rate was fantastic. So that brings me on to how what I'm doing right now. But the problem was, it wasn't my own baby. The proprietary technology wasn't in me. It was in the company in the States. Okay. I was a reseller and took commission on licenses I sold. It wasn't my own software, which is a shame because it was a fantastic tool and I really wish it was. So moving on to what I do now, my baby, as we'd call it, Honeypot. This is a dating app that is all about, as I said, connecting people on the day. The way we launched this was, I'll be honest, an absolute failure, okay? And this was a big failure of mine of what happened. We built this, took a couple of months to build this dating app, actually a few more. We were so excited about it, and we opened up Clapham on the 1st of August. We tried to create a bit of hype about it by doing some organic social posts, and we started to hand out flyers, and launch day happened, and we literally had about 200 downloads. And I'll be honest, you know, in a dating app, it takes two to tango. You need the critical mass on there. Supply and demand has to be there. It wasn't working, and we were very deflated. We were very flat from it, and we thought, oh shit, this is a bit of a kick in the teeth. We spent so long developing and getting this right, but the problem is we didn't have the money for ads at all. We didn't have, you know, the marketing budget to get this out there in the usual way. There's a reason why people buy ads, because most of the time you put a certain amount in and you get a certain amount back. So we had to really think about how we're going to get this out there. So it's a very competitive space where all our competitors are doing, you know, the Hinge, Bumble and Tinder. They're dumping so much money into digital, and we know they could just blow us out the water with ad spend, you know. And to be honest, they had spent millions on engineering and brand, and we weren't there. We were an early stage startup that was just testing an idea. We didn't have the brand behind us, but actually we think this was an opportunity, looking back, to reinvent ourselves and get people to buy into and follow our story of how we've done it, even though they might not necessarily be in the market for dating apps. So we went guerrilla, and the way we did it, I'm going to share some examples in a moment of actually how we did it. So we couldn't pay for ads. We couldn't pay for expensive Instagram influencers at all. So we realized, well, hold on a minute. The public are all influencers. We know that people who've got a social media, that following to a degree, however small, is kind of, they are influencers. They're micro influencers. And you trust your friends so much more nowadays than actually seeing a post that's been paid by an influencer. So the goal was to stop the footfall, okay? Just get people to stop, stare, digest, and actually take in something they're not used to seeing, okay? And the goal was to get them to reach down to their phone, take a picture, and put that onto social media, getting the public to actually be our social media sort of influencers, would you say. But that had to be done in mass, and you had to stop enough people in order to get your message to spread. So it brings me on to, what did we do? The plan was, right, okay, a different form of ad, what people are not used to seeing. Let's buy a whiteboard, okay? That was the brainwave genius idea. We thought, okay, let's take the huge bill out of the word billboard, be whiter than white, and just use a bloody board. Jumped on Amazon Prime and bought ourselves a whiteboard and wrote the first message, which we actually placed outside Clapham Common, I think, the Tube in rush hour. We wrote, download Honeypot, London's new dating app, okay? And we left it there. And within 10 minutes, I don't think one person looked at the board, read it, even cared. You know, they just didn't care at all. So back to the drawing board we went to, quite literally. And after reading not every single business book, but lots of them, what is the one thing they all say you need to do? And that is to tell a story, okay? That is to not talk product, but to tell a story. What is marketing? Tell a bloody story. And I thought, okay, we're right, Matt. It's my co-founder. Let's tell a good damn story. Let's get a scandal going here. We know people like scandals, people like drama. We can tell a good story that relates to kind of relationships. And it's a bold message anyway, because of course you've probably seen some of the stuff we've done. But let's really evoke some sort of motion, get a reaction, So now I'm going to share some examples with you of actually some of the stuff we've done, just a few of them. So the first one we did, Project Naughty George. Okay, this was called To My Cheating Boyfriend at George Rawlings. Don't bother coming home tonight. Enjoy seeing this on Instagram the same way I saw you and that girl on the weekend. Oh, the irony. P.S. You're deluded if you think Honeypot is the next Hinge. This, okay, was left outside Liverpool Street Station, and it was stopped people in their track to take a picture. We had queues of people outside Liverpool to just photograph this damn whiteboard. All it is a whiteboard, but we were getting in front of so many people, almost a queue to take a picture. So the 3 triggers of association behind why this worked were: the first one, it was the calling out to the boyfriend, a disgruntled girlfriend who had obviously been cheated on, and she's calling him out, and that is my name. Of course, that's my Instagram handle, and the irony is it's me. The second trigger, the second trigger, enjoy seeing this on Instagram. That's putting it into people's heads that that's where we want them to actually post this picture. Subtly, it's enjoy seeing this on Instagram. Oh, hello public, can you please put this on Instagram for us to shame this guy? And the third one, the third trigger, is Honeypot being the association with Hinge. Our target market are the people who currently use Hinge, which is another dating app, big competitor of ours, okay? They're huge right now, and we're a small startup, we get that. But anyone who uses Hinge will know that there's that direct association that Honeypot, okay, is a dating app. And if you don't use Hinge and you don't know what Hinge is, and we're trying to make that association, it doesn't matter because it's not a market. So that's the thinking behind that one. So there are different themes as I go through these, all trying to relate kind of to relationships. Next, what we did as well is we drove people to my account. I'm just going to shut the door actually, because I think there's got some guy like, no, one moment. So we drove people to my Instagram account where I had this up saying, I put up the whiteboard, what you saw wasn't real. And of course we drove them to that and they understood, okay, this was a PR stunt. And subsequently from this, we've had actually people trying to copy this formula, which hasn't worked for them because we've done it over and over again. We've saturated now this route because we've done it for the last 4 months straight, and it's past it. We're not going to really continue this because we've overdone it. But it's worked, which I'll share the results with you later. So we thought, okay, that worked really well. Let's do another one. Oh, I'm going to share a quick video with you actually of the day. It's only about a minute long of just a few clips. So we're just going to go wrecking. Can you hear that, James? Well, we're putting out a billboard on Naughty George. We've paid a lot of money to get this billboard space. So, you know, here he goes. Hold the camera straight. 34, 34. Oh, God. This is a nightmare. Both at the lift. It's George Rawlings. Where the hell is that guy? He's on Instagram. Okay, so that was just a little clip I thought I'd share of a few snippets we got on the day. So we thought, okay, that worked really well. Let's do another one. Let's do a different message. To the biggest gold digger in London, you burnt my money, now I'm burning you. People associated my Instagram handle with the stunt, so I changed my Instagram handle to Georgina Fox, had a sex change for the day, and drove people back to that account. And same thing happened. You know, name is not Georgina. Same thing, you know, same formula to getting downloads of how we did it. And even though people were starting to know this was a PR stunt, the more we did this, they were still kind of taking pictures because we did it so much. People were messaging us saying, we're waiting to see one of your boards. We're waiting to see one of your boards, because it was almost, we wanted, and we never got to the stage where it was almost Banksy, but it was quite sort of, when are they going to pop one up next? So after that, we wanted a positive spin on one. So we did a proposal, and we drove people, of course, to my co-founder's account now. So putting a positive spin on that. But we realized positive spin's good, but sometimes the shock factor does work a little bit more, which brings me on to the one which I think you've all seen, and I know I'm probably known as London's biggest cheater, the ad which James put up here, the infamous picture of me in Piccadilly Circus holding up this sign. George Rawlings cheated on my girlfriend. So we've done enough cheating now, I'll be honest, and it's probably, you know, not the best name to have when you're a co-founder of a dating app, being a cheater, but people know it's a PR stunt. They're very bold messages of how we've got it out there. And that day, only, I think, a few hours in, we were featured in the Financial Times, and that's what we kind of hoping to get some sort of press off the back of this, and it worked. So we've got a lot of digital engagement of people tagging us and the content traveling. We thought, is it possible for us to engineer like a real life date environment where we could bring in real life engagement with strangers? And for me, this one we did called Project Date was a true representation of what Honeypot was actually all about. We engaged the public, but also they looked into a real life date. I went on 91 dates that day. Still single, great. So that was great fun, but the point was a micro date, which is a term we've coined, means super short, sharp date. We want to get people dating more often, you know, be it a quick half an hour coffee with someone. And a micro date, this is what people were looking into. So that for me was the most charming, the most endearing, and, you know, the one I really enjoyed, not just because I went on 91 days, but it was a lot of fun. Good, moving on. I'm nearly wrapping this up. So in terms of the result and the growth we got from this, we achieved nearly 25,000 downloads from a marketing budget of £249, working out a cost per acquisition of just shy of a penny, which of course is extremely cheap of how we've grown quite quickly. And of course, in terms of our downloads coming in now, during this quarantine period, it's quite a difficult time for us for sure, but we have thought about doing things like video feature to do video calls, but we are in the process of going through quite a major, not rebrand, but refining the app to make it much better with much more of a focus. You know, we've had lots of people talking about our marketing, but because this has been our first version, our minimum viable product, kind of like a beta, we've had people talking about our marketing, not necessarily our product. It's been our marketing that has been traveling, which is a shame, but hey, that's the way it works. We know there's lots of things we can do with our product to get it right, because we know how to make noise. You know, that £249 marketing spent was literally for the blackboard, whiteboard, and the table and chairs. So it's just a thing that cheap doesn't always necessarily mean low impact and bad. There are ways to navigate and attain users at quite a quick rate of doing it quite unconventionally. But it doesn't really stop there. Just in terms of LinkedIn, LinkedIn has been an amazing tool for us to extend the reach we've had on the ground. It's quite ironic because we've taken this approach where we're boycotting social and really going down the route of, oh, we're not paying for ads, we're not paying for ads. Yes, we're not. But of course, by going onto LinkedIn, it's a fantastic platform for organic reach of other people liking, and, you know, before you know it, that racked up about 500,000 views in you know, about 24 hours. And, you know, we've had about 4.3 million LinkedIn impressions from the posts I've been doing, just from people being interested in what we're up to. But it's content like this that rips through LinkedIn because it's not used to being placed on LinkedIn. You're used to seeing the shiny, polished ad on LinkedIn or the person talking to camera. You're not really used to seeing someone, you know, in an umbrella hat with a sign saying, download our app, our marketing is pretty rubbish. It's content that you're not used to seeing, a bit like on the ground. But taking it further, we managed to team up with our bank. We thought, I told my co-founder, I got a call from our bank saying they wanted to team up and do a team partnership with them. And we thought, oh my gosh, fantastic. We don't now need to be holding up bits of cardboard and whiteboards getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Brilliant, this is it. We're going to get loads of downloads in. And we featured in about 100 tube stations with this ad at the top of escalators, not actually on the tube, but, you know, the top of escalators and all that. And it literally, over the course of about a week, it brought in literally about 45 downloads, okay? And we were shocked. That ad didn't tell a story. We were identifying ourselves as a micro-dating app at that point, the micro-dating app being a super short, sharp date, but it didn't tell a story. It wasn't engaging enough. And I really believe our ability to consume ads is diminishing constantly. It is, you know, so many, brands are just thinking they can just put money into paid and it works. It's their golden bullet. It's really not. So I think sometimes to think a little bit differently, it's definitely worthwhile. The time was right for us as well, after hitting our benchmark of that amount of users, to do a funding round. And of course, in true honeypot style, we need to get the attention of investors by actually holding up pieces of board, because that is what our identity was. That was what the brand was at this point, because the brand had been on us as individuals. So everything we had done had really kind of been a movement to get to this stage where let's now actually do a proper fundraising round. And we managed to basically crowdfund this from LinkedIn. So we had hot leads of people who were interested, who had been following our story already from all the other stuff, contacting us saying, can I see a pitch deck? Can I see a pitch deck? And of course, the video emails, the relationship started, and we managed to close on a round of funding last month on it. So that was LinkedIn. And just to close, I'm going to finish, I think we're good for time now. My quote is, sometimes the well-trodden path isn't always the right way, and to embrace difference. Because for me, I think the biggest hack of this whole sort of adventure that we're currently on, I think we've managed to get a significant amount of people talking about our unusual, unorthodox ways, but also following the story without necessarily being our target market. And when I say target market, I got asked that question the other day, who is your target market? And my reply is every single person.